What's it, man? And I'm being real here, man. What's it like being in the shoes of the greatest rapper on the planet, man? What's that like? I mean, is it?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, man. But what's it like being RA?
Yeah, like do you feel this magical microphone going up?
Nah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's a everyday, because
Superpowers.
like you said, you see your peers, um, all of a sudden not doing as good and not making as good music, or people you looked up to falling off, and you see all of this stuff, and you're like, yo, I don't want to be that. How do you maintain? So it's actually a lot of pressure to try to maintain a high level, a high competitive level. So, when you're juggling that around your career, I don't have management, I don't have nothing. So I'm doing all of that stuff and still trying to keep my pen as sharp as possible. So I appreciate you saying that about me, because I work hard, and hopefully, there's the work pays off as soon as this COVID shit lets us tour again. Like I said, I got 2 shows now. Excited. I got one in Switzerland and one in Belgium, and hopefully, the shows in April. I have a whole bunch more in April. Hopefully, they actually happen, because my other tours all got canceled. Everything. So, you know.
Is it?
Say again.
No, no. Go ahead. Houston.
No, you go. You go ahead.
No, it's just it's like when I remember when I listened to your track with Emo and Still Get Through the Day from the last album, I was like, why the fuck is this a Grammy Award winner? And I mean it too. Were you about to say something, all right?
No, I'm listening to you.
I'm about to say it too from the sense of, okay, I get it why, some of the old shit, as dope as it was, it can't be radio friendly, right? It's dope. But I'm like, okay, but this song has it all. It's got the radio friendly. It's got the hook with the beautiful singing and all that. And my point is, are you frozen out? Do they?
Oh yeah,
Grammys, MTVs, all that shit. Show you love.
The music game is the same as the boxing game, So, like that's why I say Larry Holmes, and Bernard Hopkins, because they wanted them to lose forever, So you just fight harder and harder, and you stay on top as much, and harder and harder and harder. So yeah, and the boxing game is about connections. Julian Jackson was signed to Don King, and Mike Tyson was signed to Don King, and Chavez was signed to Don King. Julian Jackson was knocking people out cold and giving them the Mike Tyson punt knockouts harder than Mike Tyson was doing. But he had told me, hey, Don King told me, he said, if I book Chavez, you got a whole stadium in Mexico, 80,000 Mexicans are coming. If I book Tyson, you got all of America and the world. If I book you, you got knockouts, but what, we got a little island of Virgin Islands? Who's like who's your fan base? So, you can have the brutal Julian Jackson knockouts, but that doesn't always mean that the Don King is going to put the money towards the promotion for that, So, yeah.
Some bullshit. All those record labels suck dick.
So, but it's also the music business, like the boxing game is a popularity, a high school, it's like high school. If you're not associated with this person, or affiliated with this person or that person, they're not gonna, if you're not signed to this multi-billion-dollar corporation, or in bed with this it's a lot of politics behind things, and a lot of people go, no, independent artists with the internet now are still doing. No, it's not true, because once that happens, then they hire all the campaigns to do all of that stuff, and there's still millions being pushed into these things. So if you're talking Grammys and Academy Awards and all that stuff, you need a mass marketed machine to push you into that. You can't just be an independent guy doing some shows to finance his videos. You can't be that guy. It doesn't happen like that unless you sign away to, the machine.
Right. Well, this sucks, man. I wanted to see Still Get Through the Day perform live at the Grammys, but I never watched the Grammys, but I was gonna watch it if they would have put RA on there. So
did you see Kanye West pissed on his Grammy? You
Oh,
know,
I heard about it, but I didn't visually see it.
I didn't see it either, but no, I did see it. Somebody put it on Instagram. You don't see him; you just see the Grammy and piss hitting it. I don't even know if it was real piss. It probably was, but like you just saw like a, the thing getting pissed on. But yeah, I said that in the song too. I pissed on the Grammy, some shit. But but on the flip side of that is Kanye. You know, he's complaining about record labels, he's complaining about this, but he signed his contracts in what 2000s. That's when everybody already knew this. You had Lloyd. Everybody was protected in the 2000s. You will, and he was down with Jay-Z making beats for these guys. Like, so you willfully signed into something knowing what it was. So now, I'm a slave, and the guy you signed to something that you knew what it was and was protected by high level lawyers. Like, if you really want to, you signed yourself into the slavery, if you're calling it a slave, because you shouldn't have done that then. They shouldn't have promoted you. You should have did it independently then, But then, you sign them papers, you get the promotion, you get the Grammys, you get all of that stuff, and then all of a sudden, I'm a slave. It's like, no, you signed away to that machine to put all that money, all those promotions, all those hundreds of thousands for each visual, each time you step, millions for everything, and now you're a slave. So there's contradictions there, man. Like people, they know what they're doing, but then once you get it all, then you act like, oh, I was a victim. It's not the truth. Like you had the choice, and you know what the choices were. So you
Well,
took it.
that does sound like boxing a little bit. Like Canelo making his deal, and there's talk of that one guy signs with Bob Arum instead of Al Heyman, and then all of a sudden the Bob Arum guy can't get any Al Heyman fights, and people are like, well, you made that choice to sign with him. So it sounds like some similarities.
Yeah. Yeah, because when right before they sign you, they'll show you the paperwork, but um, they also tell you the whole world. That's true. They also tell you, but that's still a different uh, than what I'm talking about, because
Yeah,
Kanye at the time was already in the circles, already down with all making beats for all the biggest rappers in the world when he signed. Certain fighters live in the street, they're broke. Bob Arum, offers them a check. Oh shit! And there's the popular Bob Arum who blew up all these great fighters. Let's do it. When the time comes and we got to negotiate with Al Heyman, we'll make it work, or whatever happens. Right now I'm with Bob. So it's so childish though that they can't even work it out where their fighters could fight each other. They're just, they're destroying the sport again. It's like, I know they always say that every decade. It's like, oh, boxing's dying. But you could look at articles from like the 1900s. When they were thinking about legalizing it, or oh, boxing's dead now. They've been saying boxing's dead for 100, 200 years. So boxing's not going to
does it feel
die.
a little more legit this time though? Like this decline is kind of, or not even decline, but like you said, fights not happening. Does it feel a little more serious than it did 10, 15, 20 years ago?
Oh, it's a little messier, but the thing is, it's always messy, and a superstar comes out of somewhere. Someone will come and he'll be a superstar to carry it on his back. Somebody, that's actually really great, and we'll see what happens. I think that there'll be somebody that captivates the public again. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. But there's a lot of history in pugilism. It's flooded with some amazing history. So I don't think just because it hits a dry spell, and even in a dry spell, you had Tyson versus Deontay Wilder, and Joshua is going to fight Tyson eventually, hopefully, and there's some big fights being made. And like you said, the young kid fighting
Lopez fighting Lomachenko.
Lomachenko, and I bring up this fight, but the last fight I went to was right before Corona, a couple months before Corona. It was in November. It was Nonito Donaire fought. How do you say the Japanese guy's name? I can never get it.
Naoya Inoue.
Yeah, and it was packed house in Japan. It was like
You were
20.
there?
Yeah. I was with the Donaire camp. Yeah, And Jen Mosley had invited me. She said, "Hey, I had just finished recording the album. It wasn't going to come out till April, but like I just finished recording it, mixing it." And she was like, "Yo, come out to Japan." And I was like, "Nah." I said, "You know what? I just finished the album. Why not?" So I went to Japan, and the fight was amazing. And the crowd was 20 something thousand deep. It was the big talk of the whole city. It was a big deal. And they put on a classic, amazing fight. It was a war back and forth. So to say, boxing's dead, nah, there's still greatness happening at the very moment right now. It's just that the ugly politics is destroying a lot of other things, but some fights are still being made, you know. And Donaire was, I think, a 7-1 underdog,
Mm-hmm.
and he almost beat the kid. You know, he put everything into that fight. You know.
Did you were impressed with the kid too though, Anuye? A lot of people got him ranked at the top of the best fighters.
Well, you know, it's funny. It's what I was trying to say is that I'm out of touch with what's going on in boxing right now. So when your fans are gonna be like, "Well, are you kidding me already?" When I got to Japan, I didn't even know the level of hype and respect that the kid was getting, and I was like, "Oh, I thought he was going over there to beat some guy."
Right.
Then, oh, big money to fight in Japan, you know. So, but then I looked, and they were like, "No, this guy's 7-1 favorite." I was like, "He's 7-1 favorite to beat Donaire." Then I started looking at it, all the, people saying, "Oh, Donaire's gonna get knocked out easy, 5 rounds, 3 rounds. Donaire's gonna get killed. This guy's the best. This guy's pound for pound number one, pound for pound number one." And I was like, "Holy shit!" So I didn't figure out the ranking of him until. So in all honesty, I started watching some YouTube videos, and so all I know about him was some of the brutal stuff I watched on YouTube, and then the Donaire fight where Donaire, took him to school for a big part of it, but the kid showed his heart, and had a broken face and still was able to drop Donaire. And I forgot what round, maybe the ninth round or something, but it was a great fight.
And you mentioned there always seems to be someone who emerges that's actually really great. I know again you haven't had a chance to watch it like normal, but are any of these young guys look like that guy to you? Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia Tiafimo, any of these kids
No,
really?
I don't think we have a super. I'm talking about like a superstar that's gonna you know, that's gonna save the sport. Like when Mike Tyson came on the scene, everybody, even the casual, "Oh my God, Mike Tyson, Mike Tyson." But that's also 40 years ago now, almost wholly, how 30 years, 40 years ago, right?
Yeah,
No, not 30, like 35 years ago.
34 years ago when he won the belt.
Yeah, so
34 years ago.
so it was also different. It was still at the point where, boxing was in the mainstream, so it was easier. But look, like when Floyd retired, when he didn't want to give Oscar the rematch or whatever, thank God he didn't, but it's like when he retired one of the many times, and well, the sport's gonna be dead without me. And then Manny Pacquiao became a superstar, and then Floyd came back and became a superstar again. And so they always say the sport's dead, but somebody always comes out of the woodwork to become some type of star. So right now they're building up Canelo to be that guy, and Canelo's the money guy right now. But I don't think the masses, the casuals, aren't really excited about him. Nobody, in Mexico probably, and in certain places, but I don't see, like, you don't go to the average place and people are like, "Did you see that Canelo guy?" Like when
De La
Mike
Hoya
Tyson.
was probably a bigger attraction.
Oh, De La Hoya was the biggest attraction. He was a superstar, golden boy, and every single fight had every celebrity. De La Hoya was a way bigger. He was a huge attraction. And I, yeah, and De La Hoya fought a lot of people in his time too. Sometimes he was a little childish. I don't know. He was unlikable at times too in the game. Same thing. But look, he got humbled out real fast. But I remember in his prime, I remember he beat Hector Camacho, and he's like, "Here, you have to cut it," because Hector Camacho said, "If you beat me, I'll cut that thing off." And he's like, "Here, you got to cut it off." And I think Camacho was like, "Psh," you know. But no. But and then when him and Ike Corte went to war, it was a very close fight. It was a war, great fight. And after the fight, he's like, "No, the fans don't want to see that rematch." No, like he's never gonna fight him again. But so little weird things, and when Pernell Whitaker beat him, but But I think Oscar was great for the sport, and brought a lot of attention to it.